Dun, dun, dun. Can I get in center? I certainly cannot. Oh my gosh. You don't know your left from your right. You're not using your head, Tolstoy. F. Okay, this camera's also kind of jangity. How about that? Is that within... No, it's still not goddamn centered! Oh my gosh, no. Because you're trying to pull stage left when you need to pull stage right. That is... And it's a little bit high. Oh my god, never touch the camera's center again. Are you at the center? Yes, you may sit at the... Now I'm on the throne. Alright. It's your boy HP back at it again with the fish people. And what I mean when I say that is that I'm back again. Guess who's back? Back again. I was trying to take kind of a hiatus from these live broadcasts because I realized a couple things, which is one, I was getting too drinky with it. Getting drinky with it. And was actually some of the stuff was coming out good, and then some of the stuff was coming out shitty, and it's just a matter of like when you should quit your shit. You know what I mean? The other thing is that like I got drunk for like 4 nights in a row, and as a former alcoholic, I can tell you that's not a good fucking idea. Why does my fucking neck beard look like such a fucking fuck, man? I need to shave, but I'm kind of like waiting for like this whole quarantine to be over so it can be the victory dance. But instead, no, you don't really need to see that. There we go. Is that any better? That's better. But anyway, so yeah, I was trying to be all sober. I was like, this is it, no more drinking. Then our power went out. You know what I mean? And my energy company texted me, as they do apparently, and they're like, we won't have this problem solved till like 10 o'clock tomorrow. And I was just like, well, fuck. So I broke out the flashlights and the tea lights and the Hoosker do's and the Hoosker don'ts. And I went to a local grocery store and picked up, by the way, unfortunately, this is possibly my new favorite IPA. I can't believe anyone would dethrone Heavy Seas, but Voodoo Ranger. And yes, I'm actually already one in, and this will be the second one. So I initially was just going to drink these and read. I'm actually really enjoying this. Jared Diamond's Guns, Germs, and Steel, the Pulitzer Prize winner. And he was the same guy who wrote Collapse, which is kind of a very interesting read about ecology and whatnot, and history and ecology, and how it all contributes to societal stability. And so I really wanted to read his previous hit, Guns, Germs, and Steel. Well, so I settled down, and I had my tea lights out, and the sun was going down, and I tried to angle my book as much, but I also had my... Sir! I had my big old cop wampum flashlight here, and I had me a really decent beer, and then the lights came right the fuck back on, and I was like, oh shit. Now what? I mean, originally I was going to clean all night and take care of some business, but anyway, long story short, as soon as I crack open the next beer, here comes the lights. Here comes your boy HP back at it with the fucking fish people. So, I guess we're going to be doing a moderately buzzed stream. Not a drunk stream. There's a goddamn difference, and I need you to respect the fucking difference. And by you, I mean me. But, as it is with Tolstoy, we shall fucking see how that shit works. Alexis says, nice jacket, Tolstoy. Every woman compliments me on this fucking jacket. I don't even really like wearing it as much, but North Carolina dipped down to a 48 degree, 50 degree. I mean, it was sunny, but even this morning we had some wind, and I was going for a morning jog to warm up for my indoors athleticism, which I hope this is not a racing, but anyway, I did some jump rope, got me some footage of that on Fetchbook. So if you check me on the Facebook, I also had a lot of footage that I'm trying to like. Well, everyone's like kind of on their social media a lot these days. Cause fucking, we're stuck inside. Keep it classy, Tolstoy. You know, just be a classy goddamn drunk, goddammit. Everyone text the code word Tolstoy. You're drunk. Go home to 443. No. Anyway. Kane the Warlock says, how was FF7 Remake so far? Boy, I was there when it unlocked. And, actually, I have to admit, so for those of you who don't know, viewer Kazlab bought me the goddamn game, which that's like the I still think that's the most value that a fan has ever just straight up been like, take it. Like, at first I was a little bit taken back. I was like, oh, wow, this is awkward, because, like, I'm not used to accepting things from anyone, fans specifically. But then I downloaded it, and I realized I'm trapped inside with infinite depression and alcoholism and suicidal ideation, and I'm like, ooh, I could really use to just go to a fantasy land right now. And I'll be completely real with you. Final Fantasy is absolute filthy weeb shit. But of all of them, I played 7 to the end, and I actually enjoyed it for the most fucked up reasons. Like, I'm watching the whole thing, and I'm like, ugh, all these tropes that are so Japanese and weeby. But it's like, it's kind of like a fried bologna and peanut butter sandwich. No, actually, bologna is not bad for you. Well, sort of. I mean, it is. Yeah, it's scrap meat, but what are you gonna do about it? Peanut butter's not bad for you. Depends on the and even like the fats. Okay. I'm trying to say it's a guilty pleasure. Meh? I don't know. That being said, I've only played a couple hours into the remake, and I actually have to create a sock puppet channel and upload footage to that channel via the PlayStation 4, and then stitch together some kind of a review to say thank you to Kaz Lab, because he just randomly gave me $60 worth of game, which is very nice and generous. So, like, I literally can't just walk away and be like, LOL, thanks, faggot. Like, I can't do that shit. It's not within me. So, I haven't gotten very far. I don't want to skip out on any good footage. That being said, every moment of that, mostly the cutscenes. So, the cutscenes are beautiful. The voice acting is better than Division 2, by the way. The Division 1 had amazing voice acting. The Division 2 is just like, this fucking, this guy, he says he's bad. Better shoot him in the face. I don't fucking care. And someone else going, I was so scared when the hyenas took over DC, but now I'm just like, who the fuck recorded these? But yeah, and by the way, one of the voice actors on it is the dude who did Badger from Breaking Bad. I'm so happy about that. The writing is, and they're fighting the writing. The writing is still cheesy 1990s anime and weeb, but them's the breaks, baby. That's how that shit fucking works. That being said, the fighting system is interesting, and at first I just thought, this is some shitty hack and slash, and it's really not going to be any. And then they rolled out that first spider scorpion boss, and it whooped my monkey ass. And I was like, oh, you really actually have to know what the fuck you're doing. And that was like the first instance, I think, of like real non-artificial difficulty that I've experienced in video games in a while, where I'm like, okay, so adapt, overcome, survive. Don't run into this, and don't think about what you're fucking doing. Like, an interesting blend of live action hack and slash and actual RPG elements. I'm greatly looking forward to the rest of it. But I was trying not to play my video all day long. I was trying to get a workout in, did some laundry. I was going to come home and do some cleaning. I've been cleaning like a meth head, actually. I got my kitchen sparkly looking good. So I'm pretty happy about that. Within reason, the countertops still have stains, but they're cheap-ass, shitty, white-ass countertops, so what are you going to do about it? Alexis says, now the real question is, have you watched The Platform Now? Oh, boy, I did! I watched that fucking shit. That's like Cube meets... There's another one. F. I had because I knew you were going to ask that goddamn question. I had it in my brain. I was like thinking about it when I was watching it. Cube meets... Well, F. God, that's really fucking good beer. Voodoo Ranger, really? Well, cool name. Very similar to Cube. Oh, what was the other goddamn movie? F-F-F-ity F-F-F. Yeah, really interesting premise. They don't, like Cube, they handle it in a way that it's like, we're not really going too far to explain this. Although I feel like it's explained better than Cube. Unlike Cube, where I feel Cube investigated personality types, not so much politics, this directly is about, not really politics, but social systems. And, like, it's, at first I was like, oh, good, commie propaganda. But I really like the whole fact that they're just like, ooh, I feel like it's kind of an argument for fascism. Anyway, yeah, an amazing fucking movie. I felt like that's a really good example of I don't know, finding, not hope, showing, being the shining light, the change in the world that you wish to see in the most dark and fucked up scenarios. Really well done, recommended for everyone. Oh, fuck, I did laundry, so, well, this is the new fucking snot sock. And I did laundry, and, like, I still had a random amount of socks. Like, still there are some that don't match up. Fuck my life, man. Ugh. And I wasn't snipply all day. Then you have a beer, and you see what happens. All right. So Sarah says, checking in. Red Leader checking in. Big Red checking in. Fucking, I don't know the rest of the meme. I don't know. You know, Red Letter Media checking in. I don't know, man. Tut. Twin Failing says, just got off of work and now I can relax with Papa T. Welcome into the stream, my friend. Crack open a beer. God knows in another minute I'm gonna. But we're gonna keep it classy. We're not going to get rip-roaring drunk and then get so fucked up that you're seeing two and you can't read the credits. Or can't read the credits. Christ, you're already fucked up. F. Oh, F. Okay, just focus. Just calm down. Just. All right, Clive Winston says, hey, that denim jacket looking sick, bro. Yeah, word. I've gotten a lot of compliments over the years, mostly from women. It's like been 8 women with this jacket, which is cool, but it's not my favorite. It's actually, it's a factory defect that I got at an outlet from Levi's, but whatever. I also have like a billion patches on it that my mommy sewed on for me. And actually, here you go. Check this shit out because I am such a represent fag. Hey, Triangle Rock Climbing Club. Where does it go? Cast your vote in the comments. Does it go here? Where does it go? I climb on rocks, except for now. Now I don't because we're in quarantine and rocks make you sick if you didn't know that. Well, the gyms do anyway. Back. Oh, because, well, I guess they can't sterilize the rock roots, can they? Fuck, pay my ass. I'll do it. I'll climb that shit. You can't climb a fucking 5'10". I know. Well, yeah, you can if you rainbow root it, boy. I'm not schizophrenic. Shut up. Now, but that's not even schizophrenia. That would be dissociative identity disorder. Don't get it wrong. Stephen Knight says, we live, Tolstoy fam. What's good? We live, we die, we live again. Sarah says, I need to practice my jump rope game. It's pretty nice for the calves. Word, I did get a good calf workout. It's also rhythm, which unfortunately I don't necessarily have the best fucking rhythm. And so it's like after about 30 seconds, like you miss one bump, but the rhythm keeps going, and you have to like try to speed up to catch up, and then now you're doing double time, and then you fucking trip, and then everyone's laughing at you in class, and they go, "Look at the nerd," and you go, "Quit laughing at me," and that's just how it is, you know. That's a fact. That's, you know. But anyway, my calf definition, I'd get up and fucking show you, but like, you know, I don't think I can fucking. But yeah. Stephen Knight says, I heard Final Fantasy is just so anime of a game, laughing my ass off. I mean, yeah, but the first one was Japanese. I don't know if you know this, but the people who developed the new one are Japanese. So, like, it's Japanese. That's magic. Clive Winston says, you are aware, you aware of the Netflix show coming out on 420? 420. It's called Midnight Gospel. It's made by the dude who made Adventure Time and features the comedian Duncan Trussell. Super trippy. Well, look, I have nothing against Adventure Time, and I'm sure it was a good television show, but I really hate, what's his name? Ward Pendleton? Whatever the fucking guy's name is. He's Sierra Juliet Whiskey Tumbler trash. Much like Rebecca Sugar. Although, really, I think Rebecca Sugar made a better goddamn cartoon. So, yeah, Wake Me when J.G. Quental does something. Yeah, he was supposed to be doing a more, it wasn't a live action, it was an adult, animated sitcom, based off of more of like 2 in the AM PM, 3 in the AM PM, you know, which is about acid trips. And the trailer for it looked amazing, and then it's ended up in development hell, and I'm just infinitely butthurt because of all of the most recent Cartoon Network shows, regular show was the creme de la creme. Steve Knight says, you play Devil May Cry and got whooped by the spider boss. Then you play Final Fantasy VII Remake and you get whooped by a spider boss. Laugh my ass off. You need bug spray. You need the bug spray cheat for these anime games. No, I mean, I got whooped, but then I just changed my tactics and then won. You know, I learned my lesson from it. As opposed to, like, shit like Sekiro, where it's just like, I know what I have to do, but I can't do it. I don't know. It's... Is that artificial? Well, I don't know. I guess that's up to you. Gonna grab a beer, and I'll be right back. Leave your comments for the Tolstoy to answer as he gets progressively more drunk like he knows he shouldn't. Woo! Dicky da do. Damn, my ass hurts. Yep. Fuck. Also, all this drinking was fucking with my sleep cycle, and fuck me. And I managed to fix it by doing enough exercise and staying up for long enough, you know, and not doing any caffeine, and then fucking faggot telemarketers keep calling my ass. I swear to God, if I could find where you were, I would cut your lips and tongue from your head with a linoleum knife. Fucking, like, waking my ass up. You know what? Well, I can't keep the fucking ringer off, because what if someone important is trying to fucking call me? Ooh, those little shitbags. Those shit weasels. Shit weasels. Stephen Knight says, the platform for the win. Fucking A. Yeah, great. You know what was weird about it? The first thing that I noticed was like, okay, so they're speaking Spanish, and I thought, oh, is it Mexican Spanish or Spanish? And I just kind of like looked. I've been watching a lot Better Call Saul and a lot of other stuff, you know, that has Mexican Spanish in there, and you can almost hear the difference in the dialect in the same way that you can, I guess, listen to English and hear an American accent versus a British accent, and I could hear I'm getting to the point where I'm listening to enough Spanish almost where I'm picking up on certain things. So, like in Better Call Saul. I can't spoil the scene, but the line uttered by the Mexican gangster is, well, you're a badass. You know, oh, you're a badass, ain't you, buddy? You know, oh, look out, we got a badass here. But what I picked up on was Chingon, which I happen to know from a fact from a good friend who taught me a little bit that Chingon is fucker. So I was just like, yeah, that got translated wrong, and I just, like, picked up on that, and a bunch of other stuff where you start noticing, you hear it enough, and you start noticing similar words, and you go, oh, okay, when they say that, it means this, and you, oh, okay, neat, and when you just hear it going on in the background when you're making, you know, dinner late at night, long story short, I could hear the fact that they were Spaniard Spanish speakers. Their names are weird. Are those normal names for Spanish people? Like, I just kind of thought, like, you know, like, Pablo or Juan, but like all of their names are like Bahaman and like Tarabitsu, and I'm like, oh, that none of those names sound even remotely Spanish. They all sound like weird and biblical, almost, kind of, maybe. Alexis says, I'm so happy you finally watched it. Well, it was a good watch, and you said that basically you were like, hey man, I think you would enjoy this like in the, you know, within the context of having a little bit of a buzz going. Nah, man, alcohol withdrawal. Nothing makes it more goddamn dark than just sitting there in the dark and shaking and not having and knowing that you're not going to be able to sleep. Which also is why I dusted off PlayStation 3 and started going back through The Evil Within. Oh, such a great game. Why was Evil Within 2 utter bullshit? Anyway. But of course, we're past that now because I'm not drinking, so. Oh, God! Anyway. Damn, these are good fucking IPAs. Terrible. These are 9% alcoholic, by the way. These are all mini wines. The fact that I'm not absolutely tanked right now is surprising. Although, give it a minute. If I begin to start slurring my words, tell me, and I will X out of this goddamn shit. But then again, I don't trust you all. You'll probably just think it's funny and wait. Fair enough. Everyone likes a train wreck, right? Sioran Lee says, Tolstoy demands. I am. Demands. Clive Winston says, what is the next Discord shitpost session? Soon. Soon. I have nothing really else to do. So, yeah, soon. Dark Falcon Wolf says, hi. Hi, Dark Falcon Wolf. Sarah says, yeah, New Belgium has a good reputation in my state. LOL. Where are they brewing out of, anyway? New Belgium Brewing Company, Fort Collins, Colorado, and Asheville, North Carolina. There you fucking, I mean, you're a bunch of fucking hippies that don't deserve the goddamn mountains that you're in, and one day I'm gonna raise that city to the ground with my psycho gorilla army. But until that day, yay for North Carolina. Stephen Knight says, cracks open a bottle of Tito's. This is gonna be a good show. Fuck yeah, man. Of all vodka on earth, Tito's is the greatest vodka. But I wouldn't know about that. I don't drink liquor. I certainly don't drink, liters of it when I do. Anyway, Clive Winston says, Sekiro is not artificial difficulty. It's basically a rhythm game. Okay, but the rhythm is fucked, and I don't believe you. I'm sorry, man. Like, I don't know. I see the enemy's sword coming. I mean, it just seems like bad. No, you know what? It's not that, and I actually know this for a fact. From Software has horrible hit detection problems. In fact, almost all Japanese game developers have terrible hit detection in their games. You know this to be true. Like, infamously was Metal Gear Online. You know what I mean? Where, like, I seriously sat there, put a gun to the back of someone's head who did not know that I was there, who I think they had left to go do something and, like, their character was still on screen, pull the trigger, and he took shoulder damage. And I was like, what? Yeah, there's whole videos you can look up on YouTube of, like, bad Sekiro hit detection where, like, clearly you should have hit them, but the game goes, no. And clearly they should not have hit you, or you should have blocked it or dodged it, and the game goes, faggot. Yeah, man. Sorry. Like, I've played rhythm games before, like, Guitar Hero and Patapon, but those weren't bullshit. Like, I was able to do those. Like, I didn't call bullshit. If the song was too difficult, I knew that it was fucking too difficult, as opposed to, well, anyway. I have a lot of horrific things to say about Sekiro, but let's not get on a drunken rant about it, shall we? Scroll it up. Steven Knight says, the scene on the platform when the black guy is climbing to the next level and the girl literally shits in his face is deep as fuck, laughing my ass off. Is it? Shitting in the face of? Like, you felt like that was you felt that was a metaphor? Because I literally just took that at face value and decided that was just kind of weird and disgusting, and just, like, people are shit, unless that's what you're implying. The only thing about that character is I keep on thinking of the line that, and I don't know his name, because his name was probably, like, some Spanish version of Bartholomew. As he, the black guy, Bahamon, is just like, it's a suicide run for just two men. And then the other guy says, but what about two men on fire? And I was like, that's pretty badass. All right, then. You have my sword. Very good. Clive Winston says, opinion on Sun Tzu's Art of War. It's absolute stupid dog shit. Let me explain. So, I don't know who gave this motherfucker a pen. No, I'm just kidding. Look, man. It's all obvious bullshit. And it's like, I actually have I have a fucking copy. I swear to God. Bet. I'm gonna, like, randomly flip to a page, and it'll be, like, some no shit nonsense where you're like, yeah? Alright, fuck it. Or do I have a copy? I mean, I know that I do, but where is it? No. F. Okay. Well, a better example than anyway. Woo! Yeah! Some good old-fashioned cola. I don't want to dig through my goddamn bookshelf, but another good example of this is Book of the Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi, which is lofty and pretentious, and all the weebs hate me, but I have this feeling that, like, this shit was written by a nobleman who knew how to write, and it's essentially a samurai drama dressed up as a instruction manual. Like, I think I said this in a previous live stream, but there's literally, can I find it, like, Fire Scroll? I think it was in the, thank you, dear sweet merciful Jesus, I found the exact, okay, I want you to listen to this part of the Water Scroll, which dictates the super secret ninja samurai ultimate badass technique of, literally it says, stabbing the face. Gee, I didn't know you could stab a guy in the face. That's a mystery. The stab the face technique, as described by Miyamoto Musashi. When you are even with an opponent, it is essential to keep thinking of... Jesus Christ. It's a fucking meme. Is he taking the piss? When you are even with an opponent, it is essential to keep thinking of stabbing him in the face with the tip of your sword, in the intervals between your opponent's sword blows and your own sword blows. Yeah, it's the point of using a sword. Stick the other guy. That's some deep wisdom. I didn't know that, Sensei. I thought that you were supposed to use the sword to cut, the chunk of poison that you had to stick in the guy's drink to, like, gee, no, do you think? Golly gosh willikers, fucker. When you have the intention of stabbing your opponent in the face, he will try to get both his face and his body out of the way. Genius! I didn't know that if you tried to stab a fucker in the face, he would not want to be stabbed in the face. I'm sorry, I continue. Like, Jesus Christ. When you can get your opponent to shrink away, there are various advantages of which you can avail yourself to win. Yeah, no shit. When people flinch and drop defense, it's easier to kill them. Okay. I didn't know this. That's not some kind of, like, intrinsic knowledge that... You know what, though? Hang on. I'm getting a stuffy nose. Sock. Ugh. Actually, okay. Fair enough theory. I'm a dude who has the ability to go on the internet and look up the goddamn Joe Rogan show and look up his commentary on fighting and to, share certain axioms with the internet about what is tactical and what is not in an interpersonal violent encounter. So, not without ever having been in an interpersonal encounter, but I've never been in a sword fight. Without actually having been in a sword fight, I can kind of say no shit. But maybe to some people living in the 1400s in Japan, this is some kind of mind blow. But it's still funny as fuck. I digress. Stabbing the face technique. In the midst of battle, as soon as an opponent tries to get out of the way, you have already won. Therefore, it is imperative not to forget about the tactic of stabbing the face. It literally says that. It just says that. Like, imagine this should be cultivated in the course of practicing martial arts. Hey man, when you're trying to kill a dude, did you know it's cool to stab him in the face? Once you've stabbed them in the face, they generally don't keep fighting you. No fucking shit. And the exact quote that I can recite from memory from Sun Tzu's Art of War was, there are only a few months where you will be able to effectively use the tool of fire to drive your enemy out. In the wet and damp months, it will not be effective. Gee, I didn't know that fire doesn't spread on damp ground. Christ. I honestly think that just back then, if you were a feudal lord or a king or whatever, like, people weren't allowed to basically go like, yeah, mate, we know. You know? They weren't allowed to go like, yeah, faggot, that's nothing new. So, like, people just kind of applauded him and were like, oh, that's so brilliant, master. But in reality, on the inside, they were thinking, oh, you fucking retard. So, Steven Knight says, Spanish? Mine was English dubbed on Netflix. You must have changed it. My whole thing was in Spanish. Just with subtitles. Interesting. I actually kind of want to know what it sounds like in English now. I also wish that I could breathe through my nose. Christ. It's either the carbonation or the... Ugh, fuck me. This is why I should stick to fucking liquor. Why do I live in a state that has ABC stores? Oh yeah, my parents drugged me down here. Christ, I forgot. I feel like I sound extra worse with a stuffy-ass nose. Tim Taylor says, I know enough Spanish to know when they're talking shit. Well, let's put it this way. I was at an aquarium in the north with some friends of mine, both of which speak a little Spanish, one of them more than the other. And there were some, what did they say they were? Brazilians there. So it was Portuguese. But we were looking at the porpoise tanks. Oh, I think I have the thing around here, the little ad for it. Oh, it's buried underneath bullshit. Anyway, and we're looking at the porpoise, and they rattle it off, and they walk away, and two of my friends start giggling, and I'm like, I don't get it. What happened? And they turned to me, and they're like, it was in Portuguese, so it's a little bit hard to understand in Spanish, so, like, it sounded weird when we heard it, but we still understood what they said. And I was like, what did they say? And they said, come, we must go. Let's leave the faggots of the sea. And I was like, what the fuck do the porpoises do to you, asshole? The faggots of the sea. Fantastic. Woo! Sarah asks, what did you like about The Evil Within? How can you ask something like that? That's there's so much to rant about. That'll take 4 hours. Exactly 4 hours. God, I wish I could breathe. Well, it was created by the dudes who did Resident Evil 4, which that game is... I've played that. The only game that I've replayed as many times as Resident Evil 4 is Metal Gear Solid. So... the resource-based shooting mechanics are amazing. The stealth is pretty good. The aesthetics are beyond. And that's about it. Oh, and it's spoopy, and I like horror films. So, wow, that didn't take as long as I thought it would. Christ. Steven Knight says, 9% on beer? I didn't know they went that high without being malt liquor. Fuck yeah. IPAs, baby. Steven Knight says, so on Prey, I'm like a Typhon god. Oh my Christ. Why? I told you to go human. Why would you side with it? Why would you do the Typhon powers? All the shit's going to find you. All the defense systems are going to hate you. I've installed at least 55 neuromods. Loving the game, but I'm still def going to play New Game Plus. There's a New Game Plus? I didn't know that. I really didn't. Tim Taylor says, Dark Souls 3 isn't broken like Sekiro is. Yeah, but you know, the thing is, if I was going to play a game like that, with that kind of, not crushing difficulty, but just difficulty, I would want the aesthetic of the ancient Japanese lore. Ironically, the whole Dark Souls thing of like, oh, it's very gothic, gothic European, not really my deal, Patrick. It's like broadswords and shields and stuff, like, oh, neat. The only way I can take that is in Lord of the Rings. Christ. Please, God, grant me the ability to breathe. Through my fucking nose, please. Christ. Should have just gotten goddamn vodka. Well, you didn't know you were going to drink until the shit power went out until 7. Ultimate X James says, just to let you know, there's no drink driving called Mr. T and we'll take you. Son, Clive Winston says, I've never found it to be bad hit detection with From Software. Hit the deflect button when it feels like you've already been hit. Remember, you're not blocking, you're parrying. Yeah, I know, and I tried that. And every time their swords move faster than I can see then. I don't know, maybe you have high, whatever. Like, we could sit here and break it down, and I could do, I could do a play-by-play of what, but I kept playing the game, kept getting my shit kicked. And ultimately, in good games that are fun, the challenge is presented, and there are multiple ways of solving the goddamn problem. In Sekiro, it's solve it the way that we want to via rhythm. Yeah, well, like I said, I've played Patapon. I've played Guitar Hero. I've played the mini games in, games like The Evil Within, or even, and I'm going really far back here, but Brave Fencer Musashi, if anyone is familiar with that horrible tower sequence. And yeah, I was able to do the timing sequences on that. I, for some reason, cannot detect when I'm supposed to block in Sekiro. So, I feel like it's shitty hit detection. You say no, so essentially your whole thing is get good scrub. Yeah, man, if I was going to put that much effort into anything, it's not going to be video games, I assure you. Like I said, playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. Got my shit handed to me by the stupid, whatever robot. But then I was like, let me try some new tactics. Let me actually try instead of being... Then I actually tried. I changed a bit of what I was doing, and I was able to win. So I was like, oh, neat. That's pretty cool. That was a challenge. And it was tense, too. I wasn't totally sure I was going to be able to win. But the second time I tried, I actually did win. As opposed to Sekiro, where I know every single goddamn time I'm going to lose because it's going to go, heh heh. And I'm like, oh, okay. What a fun game. It's like dating women. You just lose all the time. Okay, fun game. Can't imagine why I wouldn't stop playing. AJ Parsons says, hey, my dude. AJ, what's up? Clive says, the new stream settings are working, though, dude. Hasn't lagged yet. Excellent, which is funny because, down below, it's flashing all the warning signs and going, uh-oh, you fucked up. You done fucked up now, fam. And I'm like, okay. Oh, no. This guy's name is Deb Dabadu. I'm blue, da ba dee da ba da. And then he says, I speak Portuguese. All right, well, if you were there, you would know they were saying the faggots of the seas. Clive Winston says, Dark Souls has better lore than Loader. Change my mind. Ooh. Oh, you're nasty. Ooh. Well, you know what, though? I mean, I blasphemed Lord of the Rings, the actual writer, recently, so I won't even argue with you on that point. You might even be right. Joseph Whitford says, what's your opinion on circumcision? Christ, you guys are fucking... Oi! Don't tail it here. What are you doing? It's gonna be a fucking problem for you, son. Circumcision. Well, I don't know. I've read a little bit. It's not really anything that affects me because I cannot unmake the choice that was made for me. And honestly, whoever did it did a good job. They're all turned out pretty fucking good. Happy with mine. So, if I had a son, I'd let the woman decide. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Honestly, as long as... what if you don't get a good dude who knows how to do it? Oof. I don't know. That's one of the ones where it's 50-50. I have no good arguments for or against. Stephen Knight says, laughing my ass off, I wanted the power. Besides, I hacked every broken and fixed turret on Talos 1, so I run around telekinesis blasting motherfuckers and shotgun blasting while the turrets back me up. Typhon Talos God. You know what, though? But I'm trying to think how being superhuman helped my ass. All the guns were way fucking better because I maxed out all the ability to update all the guns and all the lasers and all that shit. So, Team Human. Yeah, that's right. Joseph Whitford says, Fortnite is better than Resident Evil. You're a Zoomer, and, no. Lord Shiogorath says, have you played the new Resident Evil 3 remake, and what's your opinion? I have not. I'm not going to put money down on that, because one, I don't have the money to put down on it, obviously. And two, I've heard it's short and not worth the money. Therefore, as much as I want to play it, I've heard it's good, but too short, not worth the money. Once it comes down in price, it was really more of a DLC, is what I'm being told. So that's pretty fucked up, but hey. Stephen Knight says, oh, wait, we skipped that. Clive says, when I was a kid, I thought the lyrics were, I'm blue, if I were green, I would die. I know, because every kid in the neighborhood told me that shit. They said, it's, if I were green, I would die. And every kid in the neighborhood was a retard, and I had the actual CD. I have it in a book of CDs out there. When, why did I invoke the CDs? Oh, fuck. Because, my shitty cell phone decided to stop accepting input from the earphone jack because it's shitty shit made in shitty chicken China, where they make super viruses to kill everyone. And therefore, I had to actually get some shitty China Bluetooths. And they're also shitty and have really poor quality. These lead-based Sonys are really fucking great. Too bad they don't work my goddamn cell phone anymore. So, before that, I was cleaning the apartment, and I was like, fuck it, let's look through old CDs, and I found all my old goddamn CDs. And actually, let's go through those real quick. And maybe get another beer. Blue, dabba dee dabba die, dabba squee dabba die, dabba wee dabba die. Doodaloo doo, I'm blue, dabba dee dabba die. Back off with your judgment. Get another one of these fucking highly alcoholic beers. And they said, Tolstoy, I thought you were getting better from your alcoholism. And I said, hey, I thought your mom was a whore. You've been in the freezer, haven't you? I forgot. We have a freezer now because the goddamn electricity came back on. Miracle of modern science. Miracle of modern science, guys. This is going to be a long tangent. We'll try to keep this, fucking quick. Back up, you asshole. Well, chair doesn't want to. Hup, hup. There we are. Buddy. I could sit here and hold up like a goddamn storybook, but that seems to be kind of unwieldy. So I will just go through real quick and just name off a bunch of fucking albums that I happen to have in my CD book. This does not in any way reflect all of my musical tastes or any specific musical taste. It's just shit that I have left over an ancient book of CDs that I was digging through yesterday to find music while I was fucking cleaning. Now, we got Aerosmith's Greatest Hits. That's not bad. I like Aerosmith. This is a rare album. Not rare. Just, it's, people don't talk about it. Now, everyone likes Boston. But, this was actually, their last studio album from 2003 called Corporate America. This is after one of the guitarists had died and they replaced it with a lady who also did vocals. And by the way, this was them I don't want to say at their cleanest, but goddamn, they were good. The album isn't all that great. Only has a couple of hits on it. That's bad songwriting, not bad performance. The hits that are on here are tits. Bachman Turner Overdrive's greatest hits. Pretty sure I only have one thing off of that, which is just wait, what? Why do I have this? It's just Taking Care of Business. Oh, One Hit Wonder. So a lot of these are one hit wonders. Here's an interesting one. Bering Strait, which was a Russian redgrass. That's if they are a folk musician or bluegrass musicians from Russia. And they do a banger of Perushka Paranya, which I can actually sing by memory from hearing them. If you played it now, I could actually sing it because I've heard it so many goddamn times in their own language. It's not translated. We got the greatest hits of Creedence Clearwater. Gotta have that. Cheap Trick's greatest hits. Let's see. Stevie Wonder, The Definitive Collection. Love me some Stevie Wonder. We got Counting Crows. I only really like a couple off this album. It's their greatest hits, I think. Yeah. What the fuck? Oh, no, it's not. It's an album called Films About Ghosts. Got Elton John, Green Day, Guns N' Roses, Genesis, James Gang. Look into fucking James Gang. What was the, oh fuck, I forget his name. He went solo after that, but, that was a good one. Herman's Hermits, they were a one-hit wonder. Jackson Browne, Leonard Skinnard, Mamas and the Papas. We got Steve Miller Band, Newsboys. Yeah, T listened to some Christian rock back in the day. Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, Three Dog Night, Styx, Pure Prayer League, Queen, the Allman Brothers, Ray Charles, Mamas and the Papas again for some reason. Many albums by The Who, Black Rebel Motorcycle Club, Bare Naked Ladies, The Pretty Things, and their concept album, SF Sorrow, one of the greatest rock operas that ever existed, and I talked about this actually in one of my earliest videos, and we're talking really goddamn early. If you reference that video, you from 2007. Quadrophenia. What the fuck? Best of... I have no idea what the fuck that is. The Beatles, the famous Beatles 1 album, the greatest hits, all that good shit. For some reason, I have some of my mom's CDs in here. So there's Josh Groban. For some reason, we have the disc to the PlayStation 1 game, Aliens Resurrection. I don't know why. Oh, yeah! We got the Edgar Winter fucking greatest hits album. Fuck yeah, man. We need some Edgar Winter up in here to go doodle 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 hoo, doodle hee doo doo wah, doodle hee doo wah, doo hee 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 wah. That's right. I swear to God, look up any of the fucking live shit by Edgar Winter. It's just that. It's just him going doodle 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 wah, doodle hee hee wah doo. Fucking love Edgar Winter. Do do do. Elliot Weinstein says, oh, and there was supposed to be Eiffel 65 somewhere in there. I thought I had that in there. Shit. Well, I don't want to look through it again, but Christ, I thought about it the other day. I was like, do you really want to re-listen to Eiffel 65? Because I did that recently while going on a 12-mile hike. Where am I hiking to? Around my town-ish. 12 miles out. This is my life under siege. Delicious. Is that... there we go. Elliot Winston says, hello, Tolstoy. Quarantine edition. Yeah, quarantine edition Tolstoy. Fatter, beardier, more depressed. Welcome to it, bitches, and more alcoholic-y. Clive Winston says, opinions on the original Evil Dead trilogy. It's a trilogy? Wait, fuck off. No, it's not. Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2. Oh, Armies of Darkness, you dumb cunt. Christ. Okay, this might be the point where I may have drank too much. I've seen them. I like them. I love Sam Raimi. I like the remake of Evil Dead better. I tried to get into Ash versus the Evil Dead. I couldn't. It's too whatever. I don't know. I don't know why I don't like it. Like, I love elements of it. I just can't get into it. Steven Knight says, I've saved almost all humans on Talos, even though I have Typhon powers. I'm trying to use them for good. Will I still have bad ending or just taking their powers? No, you have the good ending. Like, you have to work hard to get the bad ending. You'll also be surprised about the ending. You'll see. Elliot Winston says, have you seen BBC's Dracula on Netflix? No, but I read the original fucking Dracula, and it's great up to the point where they're like, LOL. Also, did you know that there's this bitch? And I'm like, oh, God. I was thinking about that the other day, where it's just like, the first chapters are fucking... It actually elicited a fear response from me. I'm like, oh, wow, that's some spooky shit. Like, some of the shit that's described, basically, it's like... The exact line I remember from memory, he says, he's spying from one of the windows of the castle on Dracula, and he sees, Dracula look out the window, and he says, and then he exited the window head first. And he says head first in italics, and then he says he scaled down the wall like a salamander. So it like conjures up this vision of a man going and crawling down a wall, and that's cool and shit. And then, like, at the height of fear of this guy realizing I'm trapped in this castle and this dude's gonna eat me no matter what I do, they're like, LOL, let's cut back to England, where this bitch is like talking about, oh yea, Mary Chesterway on the third night proposed to me, but I am promised to another by the winds of chance. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is English and this is gay. And I was like, is that the horror? Is this the part that's supposed to scare me, where you switch from the thing that I actually want to hear about to, oh, and this gentleman with his bouquet of flowers? Oh, Jesus, that's scary as shit. About that point, I literally gave up. I was like, no, gay. Mr. Oldman says, best Souls game is Bloodborne. It's based off of H.P. Lovecraft's work and the best balance of all the Souls games. You're shitting me. This is Souls games with Cthulhu mythos themes? Ooh. John McCafferty says, the samurai sword, hold it while you walk. No. Then Deb Da Badu says, Daba Dee Daba Doo. Thank you. Stephen Knight says, The Witcher 3 is better than Final Fantasy VII Remake. That may be, but to be perfectly honest, I like the aesthetic and the world of Final Fantasy VII more than The Witcher, which is, honestly, European high fantasy. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of that. Like, I like it in Lord of the Rings. The movies, not the books, apparently. And that's about it. I literally cannot think of any other high fantasy medieval tale that I give that much of a shit about. I can't think of one. I literally don't care. What is the thing? That's an interesting thought. Then what is the time period you give? Well, more about pirates. Pirates are badass. But ultimately, most of the stories that I enjoy take place in the modern era. It's when I live, and it's what I know about. But do you care about 007 more than you do Lord of the Rings? No, not at all. That's a weird thought. I would actually like to know the metric of this, of like, well, then what is it that you really care about? Then maybe it's the major themes, like revenge or darkness or whatever. Yeah, that makes sense. High fantasy usually has elements of not really darkness or depression or whatever. It has elements of like, but I don't really care about Dark Souls, and that has elements of dark. Anyway, let's keep this shit going. Let's keep it funny, Steven. Lord Shiograth says, bring out your sword. You know that I've drunk several highly alcoholic beers. I feel like you're an instigator. And I will not give in to that, sir. Oh, look, there it is. So I was recently cleaning, and I actually cleaned this. So, should have a much better looking handle, as you can see. Now the question is whether or not that CLP is still coating the handle and making it greasy as fuck. A little bit. A little bit. There you go. Here's my goddamn sword. You wanted to see it so fucking bad. There it is. Look at that. Ah, it's a fucking sword. Look. Look at the fucking sword. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna stick this shit. I wonder if I can actually do this. Stick this right behind my back and then have that be comfortable. Oh god, it's not good. This will remind me to be a good boy. Okay, it's just mostly terrible. If you lean forward, it's not that bad. Debadoo Dabadai says, love the mamas and the papas. Fuck yeah. Now, if you want a real treat, my favorite bluegrass band is a cover band, but they are also badass. And it's Iron Horse. And Iron Horse does a cover of California Dreamin' that is beyond. My favorite Mama and the Papas song has to definitely be Straight Shooter, though. Straight up, it's a dude who's like, I love you, bitch. If you don't love me, I'll shoot you. And I'm like, sounds good. That sounds about right. Kane the Warlock says, FF7's remake's development is literally, the band is getting back together. Q, we're getting the band back together. You what? Well, we just want to finish that pub crawl. I mean, if you want to get the band back together, we can also do that. Because everyone who worked on the original game came back because of the OG dev team. You know what? I noticed that in the credits. I'm like looking through the credits as they're playing out and all the beautiful imagery is playing out, and I'm like, huh, Tetsuya Nomura was on this. Oh, neat, this guy's. And I recognize half those weird Jap names. Elliot Weinstein says, then Channel 7 rolls around. CH7 rolls around. Channel, okay, now neat. Clive Winston says, what's your next fuck off. What's your next firearm purchase? Probably a Ruger 22 LR, the 10/22 takedown. So I can drop that in a very large backpack and be much more effective at hunting than with a heavy-ass 28-inch barrel 12-gauge. Drunkenness makes you feel better about life. Stephen Knight says, if I beat this game and the screen blacks out and comes back with a Good Morning Morgan, I'm going to be pissed off. No, you definitely will not see Good Morning Morgan. Definitely not. Clive Winston says, Bloodborne... Already getting a little tongue-tied. F. Clive Winston says, Bloodborne is a PS4 exclusive. I could mail you my copy. Is it cheap? I mean, if it's like $14, I can buy it. No worries. Osmotar says, seems the boog is upon us, not even from the virus, but from pure totalitarian regime. Oh, the boog. Yeah. My brother mentioned something about this this afternoon about how the World Health Organization essentially espoused the concept that, Christ, it was so ham-handed. They're like, well, because of the lockdowns, we've noticed that people aren't really giving it to each other in public spaces. It's mostly spreading through, familial contact at home. Therefore, we should have the authority to check inside people's homes, and if someone is infected, clearly, we can take them out of the home and put them in a detention center where immediately I was like, the boog is on, boys! I was like getting ready to load, and in fact, actually, after he told me that, minutes later, our power went out, and my brother was like, I was like, I'm loading the gun, no worries. Like, immediately I was like, nah, you ain't got me. Kane the Warlock says, Dracula's problem is that it's a really slow burn. In fact, a summary I watch when talking about that scene went, hey, isn't this supposed to be about vampires? Yeah, word. I get why they switch perspectives. That's cool. I get why it focuses on his girlfriend. That's cool. There's 2 goddamn chapters about her love and her, Mary Chesterworth III and flowers, and that's not cash money, fam. That's not horror. Fuck you. Clive Winston says, you like Rage Against the Machine? Of fucking course I do. Now, granted, now all of their shit, their ideology has turned to filthy Sierra Juliet whiskeyism, but back in the day, they were badass. I'll give it to them. Now they're reuniting and they want $130 a ticket, and that's hysterical. Ha! You are not worth that much. Scott Mead Jr. says, have you played a game called Marathon by Bungie? I did. I actually played it on an emulator a million years ago. It's okay. It's mediocre as fuck. It's halfway in between Doom and System Shock. It wishes it was System Shock. It's just a little bit better than Doom. With, honestly, poor visuals. Not that the graphics weren't better. The art was not better. Dabba-doo Dabba-die says, I already know California Dreaming. Yes, it's a very popular song. Zach Frisbee says, so I'm bored of Tiger King and want to become Elephant King myself to steal his thunder. Thoughts? Elephants are beautiful, wonderful animals, and you could never become their master. They'll kill you. I hope. Stevie Knight says, ever listen to Old School Disturbed or Old School Metallica? Old School Metallica. Disturbed is a weird kind of clown shoes band. Like, I'm dropping plates on your ass. Like, listen to some of their alt work that isn't their hits. Hysterically stupid. God damn. These IPAs are tanking my ass. John McCafferty says, thanks. Perfect chapter. Oh, Elliot Weinstein says, chapter. Chapter. Man, you guys comment real great. This is the King the Warlock says, also the movie Bram Stoker's Dracula is the second most accurate movie, just slightly behind a made-for-TV BBC movie from the late 70s. Nice. Stevie Knight says, and what about the Coheed and Cambria? What? What? And what the fuck are we talking about? Zach Frisbee says, Boog LARPing is kind of driving me batty. Either do it or don't. Well, the boog is a thing that either has to happen or don't. Otherwise, you're just a lone wolf. Something tells me you glow really hard. Don't you? Well, tell your colleagues that you gay. Go ahead and tell them that. Tell them that their wives are getting fucked by other dudes while they're working for the CIA. Anyway, the Valley Yard says, speaking of totalitarianism, I recently joined the Marine Corps. Good luck and Semper Fi. Stephen Knight says, what's your favorite Matrix movie? Ooh, 1 or 2? 2 is okay. Fuck off. I'll fight you. 2 is actually okay. If you understand the lore of the Matrix. Yeah, the whole weird rant at the end where it's a massive exposition dump is... Alright, so then 1 is the best. But 2 also has its redeeming values. And then 3 is... It's 3. Kane the Warlock says, just skip until the bitch writing Tamina Harker starts getting sick. Everything jumped. Fuck y'all. Where did it go? There we are. Tamina Harker starts getting sick. It starts getting back from there. Look, I already looked up the what's it called? The summary, so there's really no reason now. Had me until he had to have 2 chapters dedicated. I mean, really, is that not the equivalent of the the latest or the second to latest Wolfenstein game where they're like, I think that players want a 30-minute sequence halfway through the game where we talk about how evil racist white people are and how we have to beat women and hate black women and also shoot a dog. I think they'll like that. Like, if I had reached that segment, I'd be like, gay, and just stop playing. Like, or demand, and thankfully, in the age of the internet, know not to spend my goddamn money on it. You know what I mean? Like, same. Reach this point where it's like, we're not talking about vampires, we're talking about fifis for like 2 goddamn chapters, and vaginas, baby. I'm like, yeah, we're done. This is not, you lose. You suck ass. Done. Stephen Knight says, everything's bumping. Also, I need the sock of... Ooh, that sword behind me doesn't feel good on my spine. Jesus. Why, God? Why am I allergic to fucking phosphates? Steven Knight says, Coheed and Cambria is a band. Bro, laughing my ass off, jeez. Wait, what? I don't remember what it said about it, but still, I don't know. Kane the Warlock says, the only important thing is some characters are kind of introduced. No, I understand. Look, like I said, I read the synopsis. I get it. But you gotta I don't know. You gotta... He even released this serialized with London newspapers. You gotta bait your customers. I don't know. You gotta know them. I turned off. Sorry. Like, I get where it was going. I've seen the whole thing. They were setting up for one of the professors that hits on her and talks about vampirism, and he's one of the guys who tries to solve it, but it turns out he can't. Yeah, I've read the whole fucking thing. If there's a point where I'm going to tune the fuck out and be like, oh, okay, this is gay, and not pay attention to it. Sorry. That's one of the skills that I've developed in the social justice world, you know? In the modern day clown world, you have to, like, know whether or not this shit's going to be fucking shitty and tune out. Thank God for beer. 9%. Oh, Voodoo Ranger is the new deal. It is what it is. Zach Frisbee says, I-dubs uncovered. I get off to guys enjoying my girlfriend. That's a cool story. I'm just going to go ahead and ignore that comment. Elliot Weinstein says, yeah, and the doctor and stuff. Yeah. The Valiard says, by the way, how's your day going? Well, it was going okay, then it started going shit. Now it's a lot better, but honestly, it's because I'm drinking. And that's really not a good idea. Wait, what? Huh, yeah. Elliot Weinstein says, I just got to chapter 7, and now the book has lost most appeal. I'm assuming chapter 7 is a chapter where a woman starts to talk about her feelings, in which case, I get you. Stephen Knight says, my fave is the first Matrix. The second one is good, showed more of Neo's powers, which is what everyone wanted, but the story wasn't an efficiently executed, and the third, you can tell they were ready to end. Executed. And the third, you can tell they were ready to end. Well. Belong Johnson says, how was that jump rope session? It was okay. Not bad. Cardio is actually better than actually, both cardio and calf held up. It ultimately came down to, after about 10 minutes of it, my rhythm was bad, and I couldn't keep jumping and accidentally knocking the rope with my feet, so I got tired. Clive Winston says, you can't beat the final fight with Agent Smith, though. I'm just not big on revolutions. I haven't seen it as many times. I don't care too much about it, really. 19 Rappy says, why did you take some of your videos down from the pass? Doesn't say past. It says pass. Like when a car passes you. Okay. Ultimate X James says, Tolstoy, are you a vampire? No. Stephen Knight says, did you get the golden pistol and the golden shotgun in Prey? There's a golden shotgun. I got the golden fucking pistol. There's a golden fucking shotgun? I think they're making the game a smidge too easy with Typhon powers. I had to switch to hard, lol. Really? No way. Really? I never chose the goddamn Typhon powers. Aliens are gay. The Valliard says, also, I'm confused. Do you believe in God still, or am I missing something? Yes. Yeah. I started off as a Christian. I became an angsty atheist. Then I had enough experiences in nature and reality where I should have died. And then I dropped pipe-hitting acid and met God. And God was like, hey, man, all things work according to my shit. And I was like, oh, wow, neat. And he revealed a lot of things. We don't have enough time to get into that. And also, I'm not sober enough for that. But that being said, I've met God, so I must believe in him. Damn, yeah. Clive Winston says, you ever get into Sam Hyde stuff? He's a comedian who had an edgy show on Cartoon Network that got fucked over by SJW politics. You may enjoy his stuff. I'm going to look into that. That's interesting. Sam Hyde. Dart Falconwolf says, I'm back. Welcome back, motherfucker. Kane the Warlock says, a lot of old classic horror novels aren't really horror. The scariest thing in Frankenstein is that he's an asshole that doesn't take responsibility for his actions. Wait. Ooh, we got a fight on our hands, boys. So one of my favorite gothic horror novels of all time is Mary Shelley's fucking Frankenstein. Now, when you say he does not take responsibility, I assume you're talking about Victor Frankenstein. A lot of the horror comes from the whole it's existential horror. It's God made me and he doesn't know what to do with me. Oh, man made me and he doesn't know what to do with me. You know, that's where the horror comes from. That's the horror part. That's horror. You know? Yeah. King the Warlocks. Oh, I never read Jekyll and Hyde aren't two personalities, but it's just a guy trying to do unspecified acts in secret by changing his looks. I don't think that's true in the slightest. I actually think it's the story about a guy who has two distinct personalities. I've never read it. Robert Louis Stevenson. I've read Treasure Island. I never read Jekyll and Hyde. I think you're wrong about that, but I could be wrong. Geo, a.k.a. Sandra Cohen, says, light a cigar and play Bioshock again. No, I've already played Prey. It's better. Elliot Weinstein says, Tolstoy, what's WUTS? What's an underrated dystopian? What's an underrated dystopian? Well, you never finished the thought. You never said game, movie, novel. You just said, what's an underrated dystopian? So right now in America is an underrated dystopian, to answer your question. Do you mean an underrated person living in a dystopia? Well, there's too many of them for me to name, so it's going to be kind of hard. But thank you for playing. Malong Johnson says, we have all had our angsty atheist phase. Yeah. Yeah, you have. Have we? I thought mine was a little bit unique. Just, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. You definitely don't. I don't know. But the difference is that I didn't want to be in it. I didn't do it to rebel. In fact, I was afraid. I was terrified of God, when I was a kid. I mean, they take you to a Christian church and they tell you there's a man in the sky that will send you to horrible damnation universe if you don't listen to what he says. And I questioned some of his, the reality of some of it, and everyone in my family disowns me, including my mother and father, whom I still love, and still, it's not that they disowned me, they didn't stop talking to me, but it was a little bit like coming out of the closet. And they did not react super well. But it's such a weird goddamn life. It mostly had to do with the problem of hell. That was I debated this with my priest, with random, go by preachers who would come by my house and shit like that. Debated this with everyone. I was just like, I basically forwarded the problem of hell. I was like, so Jesus sends, people in the 300 ADs living in Britain who were fucking druids to hell. Is that what he does? And my shit, by the way, has gotten more sophisticated since then. I'm just like, really, it's interesting because Jesus never really talks about hell. And that's wrong, buddy, because in Matthew 1, chapter 2... Well, that's interesting because in Matthew 1, chapter 2, in Greek, it actually says Hades, which not even is the goddamn underworld. That's just the name of the god of the underworld. Not even the fucking first time Christians have done this. They straight up were like, hell, which is, well, that's the Norwegian name for their god of death. Fuck. Imagine someone like going, you'll go to Anubis. Like, but Anubis is the god of the underworld, not the underworld. Like, he judges you. You're bad at this. Doesn't matter. They just shout it. Long story short, telling my family this did not result in anything. We did not gain any progress, but ultimately, that inflamed me, and I went in a atheistic direction that I did not want to go towards. It was more of an agnosticism. I never rejected God as existing, and there were several events that even in my raging agnosticism, I was like, God damn, you should not have made it through that without the help of God. Like, straight up. Like, there were times where I was like, nah, that's impossible. I should be dead. And I don't feel like talking about those times. But ultimately, after a while, I started going out into the forest and playing and frolicking with the animals and the grasslands, and I realized, you rejected God based on a bunch of writings and a bunch of poorly translated, dogmatic, well, anyway, the whole bit. Long story short, believe in God. It's not the white-haired, puffy man that lives in the sky. That's ridiculous. It's all reality experiencing itself subjectively. So basically, Hindus are fucking beast! Long story short, taking a piss. God is taking a piss, while at the same time, all of God is doing all the other shit. This bottle, it's also God. You didn't know that, did you, casual? Central part assholes. Fuck. Getting back into the seat of command is hard. You have shit all around you. Now, I don't want to get too drunk, but well, here's some fucking rice wine. Let's have one swig of this and have nothing more until it's okay to get blackout goddamn drunk while watching movies, Tolstoy. Until then, stay sober and normal. You ain't sober, boy. Stay normal. You ain't normal. Stay coherent. Ha ha! Coherent. Faggots. Oh, I love rice wine. This Geikiken has such a sweet flavor. So sweet. Now, So, yeah, as I stated before, yes, I went through an angsty atheist phase. Believing God has nothing to do with coming back to the church. It has more to do with investigating nature. dropping acid, doing everything that everyone told me not to do, and realizing we're all one reality experiencing itself subjectively. It also has to do with some cutting-edge science that's gone down, and some weird experiences that I've had surrounding this cutting-edge science, and we're talking about particle colliding CERN. And I don't feel like getting into it, but ultimately, I can tell you this. The blind watchmaker has been lifting weights. This motherfucker is going to knock you out if you're not too careful. Like, the universe is infinitely more complex than we are thinking that it was. And ultimately, there's a point where I have to call bullshit and be like, it can't happen by accident. Fuck off. And we crossed that line like 5 years ago. More than that. At a certain point, I was like, oh, fuck. So reality changes based on whether or not conscious entities are experiencing it? Oh, wow. So there's God. Now, I can't tell you anything about this God, but I can tell you it must exist. And I simply refer to it as the architect. Clive Winston says, you ever get into Sam Hyde stuff? He's a comedian who had an edgy show on... Oh, wait, we already read that. Oh, Christ, I thought we already read that. Dark Falcon Wolf says, I'm back. Kane the Warlock says, a lot of old classics horror novels aren't really horror. The scariest thing in... No. We read all of this. I feel like it's recycling. Oh, shit. I might be that trashed. Okay. Well, let's be cool. Oh, my God. Oh, maybe everything bumped automatically. Oh, fuck. Christ. Bananas. Oh, okay. Oh, that's what happened. Okay. All right. I got it. Zach Frisbee says, have you ever went back and watched Contagion yet, like everyone else? No. Long Johnson says, some people stay that way. Yes. Clive Winston says, of course I know God. He's me. Clive knows what's up. Straight up. I swear to God. One time I was like, someone's like, do you believe in miracles? And I was like, nah, man. God's too busy being everything to intervene. And someone, this lady was like, you have done acid. And I was like, yes. Where's that wine? Oh, hell yeah. Everyone's like, and it begins. Yeah. Fuck you. I can cut this off in about 40 minutes. That's a long time for a drink, Tolstoy. You're a long time for a faggot. Yes, sir! The wine won't clog me up as much. Ultimate X James says, what Hogwarts house would you be in? Hufflepuff, because badgers are badass. Fuck you. The Valley says, what's your favorite dystopic story, movie or comic book? Reality. But, short of that, probably 1984. Brave New World was more on the spot, but I read 1984 and I don't know. Orwell. Which is better, 1984, Brave New World, Orwell, or what's his face? Can't remember his goddamn name. Cheeriest chair that ever chaired, by Aldous Huxley. I have no idea. Probably 1984. I don't know. Only because Zach loved it so much. Therefore, as a friend, so do I. More sock, buddy. Ew, it's all covered in snot and wet. Ew. Christ. Yeah. Sorry about that. Stephen Knight says, the only thing your room is missing is a lava lamp to runneth over the cup of dopeness. Well, my brother has a lava lamp. I guess I can break one the fuck out. Man, that's interesting. I would love to find out what kind of, like, weird-ass Texan house you have. Like, I wonder if you have, like, some, like, a weird Texan breed of, like, hippie, but also, like, cowboys. When I say cowboys, I mean the NFL Cowboys. Like, I wonder if you have, like, a bunch of Cowboys memorabilia mixed with, like, tie-dye shit, and you're just like, we like peace and also, like, Cowboys, and also fuck DC and their Redskins. Tut. skipping a whole bunch of everything jumped, and the house is in fact jumping. Oh Christ, the house is jumping. A lot. Here we are. Dark Falcon Wolf says, I was in another live stream, and they keep saying my creation, Wolfie, as they call me. They say that Furry is Ryu Ninja Gaiden's wife. Help. Alright, so we're skipping all of this. I don't care. Elliot Weinstein says, mine is Brazil. Nice. Zach Frisbee says, Edgelord Atheist Days, those were fun. Again, I don't think I was being an edgelord atheist. I didn't want to be one. I was raised as a Christian, and it felt so terrible to be out of sync with my tribe. It's just... I just had questions. I couldn't stand the concept of hell. Eventually, you just come to the conclusion that the original Christian narrative didn't really involve hell. Like, and I can go on and on about how, anyway, but long story short, that the concept of hell is what drove me to atheism, which it shouldn't have. It distanced me from God, and ultimately I came back under a more Native American pantheist mentality, you know what I mean? But God's still God, because, you know, he's not a faggot, so he doesn't give a shit, you know, which fucking sect you are, nor does he really fucking care. Trust me, when I met God, he was like, I really don't give a shit. He literally said, do whatever you want. I was like, okay, neat. I was like, and I said, what about the people who rape people and kill them? And he literally told me, I am those people. He said, I wanted to be raped and killed. I wanted to know what that was like. It's part of the experience. It's part of me exploring myself. Are you telling me that I don't have self-autonomy? And I was like, oh, shit. And he's like, that's right. I'm God. Faggot. And I'm like, oh, shit. That's about when you realize he has the real BDE. He has the big dick energy. Like, you're like, oh, okay. And he's like, that's right. Shut the fuck up. It all works in conjunction with how I say it works. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, you do you. Because you're God. So, there's that. But I had to drop a lot of pipeline acid for that. More wine. There's nothing good about what I'm doing. Steven Knight says, they need to remake the Wolfman movie. I'm going to go ahead and pronounce it. Benicio del Toro. Del Toto. Was good, but the script and overall movie was boring as fuck with horrible pacing. I'm not even aware of the original. I have no idea what we're talking about. Clive Winston says, do you believe you can be an atheist without being angsty? Yes, of course. It's hard because I think a lot of atheists are born of religious families that are oppressive, and their rebellion of the religious family is to be an atheist. Whereas I was not rebelling from my religious family. I became an atheist because I stood up for what I believed in, and they fought me, and I became angsty. But then I started exploring the wilderness, and honestly, I kind of like fumbled onto some sort of weird, horrible pagan paradigm. It's not horrible, it just is. A pagan paradigm. And they still reject it, but I'm not angsty now. I think the angstiness just comes from rejecting something that you've been ingrained with, and you feel more of a relief when you come to terms with what it is you truly believe. It was a weird fucking... I mean, if I could, like, give you my experiences, it's just... It was a long road from... I hate God to I don't believe in God, but secretly I do still believe in God. God, why would you do this? To, oh, wow, I actually see all of this has a kind of a purpose in a weird fucking way. To, wow, the natural order is kind of what it is, and I accept the way you have made it, even if it doesn't benefit me. To, like, I am one with the natural order. So, you know, kind of thing. Hard to fucking explain if you haven't dropped pipe-hitting acid and walked around the woods. Oh my god, I want to go back out to the woods. Are the national parks closed down? Fuck! Well, you know who I blame for this. Anyway. This is probably too much goddamn alcohol. Oh, I don't give a fuck. Yes, you do. Yes, you fucking do. You're gonna wake up tomorrow and hate your goddamn life? Well, what will you do tomorrow? Well, it depends on the weather. If it's fucking beautiful, you're going for the run, and you know it. It's gonna suck ass having just done leg day. Yeah. Well, you're a faggot, so do it. It makes sense. Do it, faggot. All right. I need to pay a drill sergeant to yell at me professionally. Actually, you know that meme where apparently some professional trainer sees one of his patients at a McDonald's and he literally runs in off the street and smacks the McBig Man or whatever the fuck it's called out of his hand. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I actually need that. I think I need that with alcohol. Fuck! King of the Warlock says, every other Jekyll and Hyde are about split personalities, not the book. It was shocking to me, too. It's what it says. If fact, I think most of his kill are accidental. Huh. And then he says, I've met God, so I have to believe in him, unlike Edward Elric in the FMA manga, who technically met God and went, fuck you, you took my leg. Yeah? That's why he's retarded. He struggles against it from the entire series of it and decides to, well, in the good original animated version. You know me, not liking Brotherhood. Paul, 98 Romeo, says, hello from Liverpool, England. Should be asleep as am on shift as an EMT tomorrow, but can't miss a stream. Well, Paul, you owe us an explanation. First of all, Liverpool. The Beatles! Sorry. Just a big Beatles fanboy. But also, so you're an EMT. Oi, is your country overrun with the COVID, mate? Y'all dying? Or are you gonna be alive? You gonna make it, Paul? God knows we're not. Take another swig of wine, not destroying my mind. Doodaloo-boo. Doodaloo-boo. Malong Johnson says, a lot of people I see become atheist, had religion forced hard on them as a kid, and a lot of people I see become religious become it after living mostly of life without it, just in my opinion. That's a very interesting concept, but yes, I agree with you. Yeah, that sounds about right. Within my deal, religion was not... Now, actually, no, religion was forced upon me pretty hard. But the church that I went to was pretty relaxed and chill. When I began to ask questions, they hated it and they read, so I hated it and I read. Later on, I had religious experiences that were separate from them, and now I'm okay with God. Anyway. Well, I wish I could find the journal post of me talking to God. That would be one for the ages. I should really write it all down. Well, you did. You should write it down in detail. Stephen Knight says, at Cain, the Warlock, that wasn't God as much as it was the idea of God, which took form. It was like one of God's skin cells in simpler forms. Oh, God, we got into some Kabbalistic shit here. Cain the Warlock says, Hades is the name of the god and place. Still not hell. Hades is still a decent guy if you actually read and look at the context behind the stories about him. Well, then you understand my point. That the fact that the Christian manuscripts take on the name of both the name and the place, but, it's just weird. Maybe they mean death. This modern day concept of, you're burning 19 layers of dildos that are on fire. That comes from Dante Alighieri, who was literally writing a Christian fanfic / political burn against his political enemies of the day. The fact that the modern Christian church has adopted this and be like, we know it's going to be like that. Being fucking retarded. So much of the shit that I fucking read in the Bible, and I'm just and it doesn't say that at all. Once you read it in its original language, is hysterical. And we can't get into that. Because Christ, one, I'm too drunk, and two, I have too much to say about all of that. Right after this, the Valyard says, I find your religious talks very cool, interesting. I'd like to hear more about it. No, you wouldn't. Psychobliat says, what is more dangerous, an enemy who believes in something or one that believes in nothing? Oh, clearly. They're equal. That's yin and yang. You're asking what matters more, yin or yang? Both. And then Steven Knight says, you ever watch Inuyasha? Yes, I used to follow that when I was a kid, when anime was first becoming popular in the U.S. via Adult Swim. Before that, Toonami. And I remember getting as far as I could with it, and I just, it went on for so goddamn long. Then he says, I'm going to have to try this damn rice wine. My homie been trying to get me to try it, and you drink it on every show, so I'm game. It's okay. It's okay. It's like light vodka. 15%, and it just sort of tastes like eggs, which, hey, you're the one who told me the eggs negate the goddamn testosterone loss. I had 4 eggs this afternoon with some cheese and a little bit of mayonnaise on a tortilla wrap. That's been my only meal for today. That's your horoscope for today. Hell yeah. Give me a hell yeah. Zach Frisbee says, reading lol, rereading LUL. Then he says, I don't believe... it all bumped. Yep. It says, I don't believe Beatles, I just believe in me. Okay. Malone Johnson says, last time you got wasted, you called me an asshole, then 2 seconds later apologized. I'm ready. Well, what do you expect? I was getting trashed, and you all are staying not trashed, I assume. You know, it's a weird as they would say, parasocial relationship between us both. I encourage you to look that word up. I encourage you to look up, I haven't seen her in a minute. What's her fucking name? Christ! No! Don't do this to me. You can't forget who she is. Aiden Paladin. YouTube probably vanished her. I'll find her soon. Clive Winston says, I love how Zoomers read 1984 and say, gee golly, I'm glad we don't live in that world. Live in a world like that. Do they? I have no idea what Zoomers' reaction is to 1984. That's interesting. I would wonder what their reaction is. I feel like they have no context for a world that does not closely resemble that. I feel like Zoomers would more likely identify with Big Brother and say, well, I'm glad someone did something about that filthy Clive. Oh, no. Is his actual name Clive? I believe it is. Shit. Who is the main character of 1984? Clive Livingston. Winston. No. Oh, fuck me. Come on. Is that actually why you have that name? Fuck. It's like Will Livingston or... Oh, fuck you. Come on now. Just quit being a fan. Quit being a fan. Of course you don't have the main character's first fucking name, of course. Because you're a faggot. Thanks, dick. Don't want to tell me what the main character's name was. Oh, Winston. Winston Smith. Christ, now I feel like drop your goddamn phone, you fucking punk. Now I feel like an asshole. Sorry about that. I don't know. Clive Winston, Winston Smith. That's all the goddamn same to me. Anyway, Steven Knight says, laughing my ass off. Hell no, I hate the Cowboys. I'm from New York originally. I'm a Giants fan. Oh, are you a Giants fan? Guess who beat the Giants in the 2001 Super Bowl? It's the Baltimore Ravens. Second greatest murder rate on Earth. In America is Baltimore. We beat the Giants in that one. I just want you to know that. Stephen Knight says, laughing my ass off. Oh, yeah. Ooh, shit, I'm recycling things. Ultimate X James says, I hate cowgirls. I always love killing Lily over and over again in Hitman Absolution. Neat. Have no idea what that is. Skipping past all the bullshit. LinkedIn's N. He says, immediate thought was classic Tolstoy. Welcome, LinkedIn. Classic. Malone Johnson says, this isn't true Tolstoy stream without Spyman Kazlab. That's true, but he bought me Final Fantasy VII, so we all better show respect. David ASMR says, do some ASMR. Okay, I'm sorry. Get some Tolstoy ASMR. First of all, what do you think about this beer bottle? I think that it has some ASMR in it. What do you think? That's not good enough. That's a little bit better. But, what's better than that is going to be this flashlight. And do you know why? Because I can do this. Fuck you, fat. Why isn't this shit loud enough? Drink that fucking juice. Much better. Fuck. That's why I bang on the goddamn table. Anyway, that's my ASMR. There you fucking go. Stephen Knight says, the Wolfman 2010 is a retelling of the classic Wolfman story. Look it up tonight. I'm not going to do shit tonight. I'm shit-faced. It's cool with the CGI Wolfman, but they don't show him enough, making it a little boring. Well, that sounds goddamn terrible. Then Clive Winston says, let's do psychedelics. Let's do a psychedelics podcast, Big T. Son, you know that I'm always ready for that. Except for the last time that I did psychedelics, it fucked my shit up, so let's be gentle. Well, we have to meet first. How bad is your fucking... Fuck. I can say, like, you probably can't cross the Virginia border. I probably can't cross the North Carolina border. Fuck. A lot of fucks in this. Stephen Knight said, we all need to pay a drill sergeant to yell at us, LMAFO. Yeah, I know that story. LinkedIn says, holy fuck, you are so far back in the chat log. Yeah, I rant a lot. All right, quit hating. Oh, fuck, and then it jumped. Oh, Christ, I am very far back. Yeah, well, Stephen Knight says, FMA, FMA Brotherhood. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Thank you. Thank you for being one of the only ones who understands that FMA Brotherhood is shit and that FMA the original is amazing. He says, I know, people, I'm weird. The original had better conveyed story, while Brotherhood had much more action. Shaking my head. I'd rather have the story. Brother, I drink to you. Stephen Knight. I shouldn't probably reach back and start extending the katana. Ooh, okay. But you get the extendo katana. That's what you get. Yes. Shots of sake. Very good. Let's go. Kane the Warlock says, Hades is not death. That's Thanatos? No fucking way. Motherfucker's name is Thanatos. But the underworld in Greek mythology is named after Hades. Oh. So they still call it the underworld. Well, the Valley Yard says, I recall you mentioning at one point you were a communist. What's your opinion on communism now? That it doesn't work. I was an edgy teenager, and I apologize for all of that. I don't apologize for my statements on God. I apologize for my statements on communism. I'm going to walk that shit back and be like, I suck. Stephen Knight says, laughing my fucking ass off, the eggs do negate the alcohol, rock and roll. Yeah, they better, because I ate like 4 of them this goddamn afternoon. It made me feel tired. Fuck. Not tired. Well, you didn't get a lot done with today. Kane the Warlock says, going to get some hate here for this, but... Kane the Warlock says, going to get some hate for this here, but Full Metal Alchemist 2003, do you mean the only... says, which I watched first. I thought had a shitty ending, and the way they handled the homunculi was shit and went against the rule of human transmutation. That's the point of the entire goddamn... That's the point of that series. Congratulations, you figured it out, Kane. You win. You win a bunny. My fucking Christ. Lincoln says, have you seen Psychic Pebbles' recent pilot on Adult Swim called Smile Friends? No, I haven't. I need to look that up then. Malong Johnson says, till this day, you still haven't told us where you get your PSP themes. Motherfucker, at this point, I don't know. You're asking me something from over a decade ago. I believe it was literally a website called pspthemes.com, you fucking... Christ. Oh, look, Shoop X is here, and he says, did you scream yet? Okay. Clive Winston says, my username is not in reference to 1984. It's a much dumber than that. If you can figure it out, I don't know, I'll bake you a muffin basket or something. Don't bake me a muffin basket. Bring me hallucinogens, and let's meet in the woods and dance for the fire god's amusement. Christ, this isn't hard. This is what we do. This is what we do. Kane the Warlock says, Brotherhood's biggest problem is the mishandling of the parts that the original already covered because they wanted to get the new stuff ASAP. That's one of the problems. There's many others, actually. Stephen Knight says, when was the last time the Ravens went to the Super Bowl? Keep in mind, it's 2020. Oi! Did we win that one? It was like 2009. I don't know that we won that one. The one where the power went out. Oh, yeah, we did, actually. 2010, I think. 2010. It was Ray Lewis's retiring year. Fuck off. Go Ravens. Ah! There you fucking go. Except for the Ravens fucking suck, so... Being a Ravens fan, you know it's shit. You know Ravens are shit. So everything you do, you're kind of just like, yeah, they're kind of shit. Everything jumped. Twin Failing says, it's odd Muluga hasn't shown up to tell you to drink oil. Do you mean it's a blessing? Kane the Warlock says, the way you describe God reminds me of a video called The Egg A Short Story. Well, send me a link on Facebook so I can know about that if you find it. Ultimate X James says, if I do ASMR, will it make ASMR people like me? You know, I don't really know about that. I haven't done not really. Stephen Knight says, closes the bottle of Tito's. Closes the bottle? Why would you close that? Man, I think I done fucked up. Then he says, I need to learn when to say when. Yeah, well, I clearly don't have a problem with that either. What? What? Keep drinking. No, I don't fucking do that. I just drink. I'm not. It's not a problem. Come on. It's not. That's not what it is. Look, man, just be like me. You just accept that when you're drunk, baby. Yeah, learn to say when is when. Yeah, we all say that. Sarah says, I always thought it was Guitar Hero. I always thought it was a Guitar Hero reference. No idea what it meant. Clive Winston says, that's a fact. That's why I'm so hoping shit blows over by the summer so we can hike. Fuck yeah, and we totally will, Clive. We totally will. You're a cool guy. You're on my good list. Therefore, we're going hiking. Actually, Western Virginia has some pretty badass sites. Probably better than the area in Middle North Carolina that we're talking about. So, anyway. The Valliard says, it might be a weird question, but what do you think of fascism? That is a weird question, and I won't answer that. Fuck you, fat! Stephen Knight says, I remember that shit long love Ray Lewis. Stephen Knight, you understand the Ravens. It's, sometimes you have to hide us killing people because Baltimore. Snow says, does your brother drink too? No, I won't allow him. Stephen Knight then says, live. Shoop Whoop X says, if you want to relive dark and repressed memories, give me a ring. I know a shaman and he gets peyote a patch. Yeah, peyote actually won't do that. I know this from experience. So, you're wrong. Well, I'm not saying you're wrong. Under a shaman, anything can happen. But, I don't even know this from experience. I know this from people who have told me. Peyote just mostly makes you see faces in accordance with what they've told me. And I believe these people. They are reputable people in the drug community. There's a lot of questions we have to answer. Oh, Christ, stop adding questions. Shoop X says, if you want to relive dark and depressing peyote. Oh, yeah, I'm not doing peyote. Well, actually, I would, but it's to be nice. I'm not going to, fucking. Well, anyway. He says, how are the Sack Boys still tormenting you? No, now they motivate me. Next, Kazlab in the house, the donator of the Final Fantasy VII game that unfortunately my ass is going to have to review. Says, so why did you delete your last live? Did you talk about the frogs turning gay? I think in my last live stream, a guy told me that I got really crass about some experiences with an ex-girlfriend, and ironically, I lied my ass off. Really fucking weird and very strange. I'm not a liar. For real. Like, I would prefer to be that guy. I'm that guy that you want to trust. And I'm that guy because I'm always real. And apparently I said some disgusting things about, it was on par with, how do I say this? While drunk. But also correctly. I said something about how, every morning. That doesn't make sense. I never. Fuck me. I don't want to bring it up, to be perfectly honest. In fact, I should delete half these quarantine streams because Drunken Me says, apparently, well, for the most part, I would like to believe that I tell truths, but apparently I got drunk enough to the point where I said some very unscrupulous things about me and an ex-girlfriend, and these things were, one, not true, and two, kind of disgusting. And if you knew me, I'm relatively vanilla. So, when I heard about this, I was like, oh my Jesus, no, I would never ask a woman to do that, and I would never goddamn do that because Jesus is watching. So I deleted that shit. I should probably delete all of this shit. But that's weird. that lets me know something. That means that from time to time, when I'm drunk, I will lie. Which I don't fucking like, because I never lie, or I try not to. Everything bumped. Shoopwhoop X says, we ever gonna do the K meetup thing? Don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what /K/K is. That's, I don't know what you're talking about. Clive Winston says, Old Rag is a fucking godlike hike. That'd be a long drive for you, though. How long we talking about? I got some range. Maybe. Stephen Knight says, currently about to take my 4th to last shot of the night. Laugh my ass off. Damn, son. I bet it's Tito's vodka. Got the Rona. Fuck you, faggot. I bet you're nice and cozy in Texas. I bet you got your shotgun next to you. I bet the rain is raining down on your ZZ Top roof, and you're looking out into the plains on animals that you could slaughter for your amusement. I bet. Shoop Poop X says, who counts? Then Clive Winston says, honestly, I'd love to go west. I'd love to go to West Virginia and look for hellbenders. What's a hellbender? I've been to West Virginia. I don't trust nothing in West Virginia called a hellbender. I don't trust a lot in West Virginia. It's West for fucking Virginia. There's some problems. Snow says, does he care that your drinking problems are starting to resurface? Who is he? Does he care? Are you asking about me and God? Do you think that my significant other is a man? Despite the fact that 1, I'm not gay, and 2, I don't have a significant other. Because, I'm not gay. And women in America are, what are you, Snow? Does he care that your drinking problems are... Nice! Yes, they're starting to resurface. Thank you for being a fucking faggot! And pointing out that we have problems. You're like, by the way, did you know that while the Germans are invading Europe, we're having shortages of turnips? Neat! I didn't know that while Hitler was marching across the face of the earth and it looked like fucking Satan was returning. God, I didn't know that. Thanks, bud. You're doing great. Also, how much lead have you consumed? So, once we get past the faggot, Stephen Knight says, ever play Monster Hunter World? Monster Hunter didn't do it for me. I played a couple of those games, but nah. Kazlab208 says, what made you rewatch Harold and Kumar? Nothing else on? Thought my brother would find it funny. You know, I don't know. I just had to do something, right? Stephen Knight says, can PS4 connect to your phone/YouTube app as a messenger/controller for YouTube like Xbox? Son, you're asking... I have no idea. You're asking way more than I goddamn know about that. Kovurus says, Tolstoy can trust himself with alcohol. Can't trust himself with alcohol. Yeah, I know. Stephen Knight says, have you ever dated a Latina? Yes. Yeah. We talked about it in the last stream. Christ. Yes. And it didn't turn out, because I didn't want to say I love you, and that's what she was looking for. Life is shit, The Valiard says, have you ever thought about joining the military militia? Yeah, and the thought that I could be summoned to a shithole like the goddamn Middle East literally kept me from doing that. I was like, well, I'd be willing to serve as long as I don't ever end up going to shithole Middle East. By the way, back in the day, I didn't know you could be a pogue, so there's that. Okay, starting to get a little bit too drunk, and we're wrapping this shit the fuck up. What movie should I watch while drunken? Cast your votes in the goddamn comments. Malone Johnson says, who is louder? Oh, fucking everything bumps. Christ. Who was louder, you or the Dominicans in your apartment? Oh, it's equal. Dominicans and Stompy, me and Shouty. Kazlab says, how far are you into FF7? Liking it so far? Kazlab. Great, donate. And there is going to be pretty much a review. I think I'm going to put it on my Patreon and see what we do with that, because the Patreon is an 18-year or older block. So we'll see. I haven't gotten very far into it because I don't know how to gather footage yet, but I know that I need to gather footage. My initial response is, God damn! My other initial response is, God damn. So, you shall see. It's a good game. I wouldn't say surprised, but kind of. Stephen Knight says, a fun fact, a shot of mustard soothes the fuck out of an upset stomach due to alcohol and nausea as well. Huh. Well, we'll try that tomorrow. Clive Winston says, hellbenders are one of your largest species of salamander. If you've ever seen those giant Japanese salamanders, it's like that. Largest salamanders I see are yay. They're very tiny and they skitter. They fucking piss me off. Kazlab says, you are the reason I got into FF7 in the first place. Remember your last live video, back in 2009 when you said the original was one of the best games you ever... Just as that ever. That got me into playing it. That's why I donated that copy to you. That was an interesting time when I recorded that. Fuck. I don't know what to say. That game got me through some very dark times. It's very strange to talk about. And I don't want to talk about them. But Kazlab, we will have more of a discussion later when I review this actual game, because unfortunately, I literally feel I'm going to have to do it. Like, you fronted the goddamn money, so I guess this is what we're actually I guess this is what we're fucking doing. Stephen Knight says, I grew up in the same area as Harold and Kumar, and White Castle is way better than McDonald's. Well, McDonald's is shit, so White Castle better be worlds better. Like, look, man, if it ain't Five Guys, don't fucking talk to me, man. Dead serious. King of the Warlock says, have you heard about the priest who was doing service following the guidelines of the CDC to do it in your car with a voice call? A cop stormed it and told the priest that he has no rights in me. What are you What? Anyway, Catholic says, yeah, that Patreon exclusive review thing is a good idea. Let me know when you post it so I can resubscribe to it again. Do you mean that you stopped giving me money? Clive Winston says, nah, dude, hellbenders can get like a foot long. And then Stephen Knight says, watch The Witcher tonight on Netflix. And, yeah, that's about where we're ending that goddamn stream. Thank you all for joining me. Sorry about me being me.